Hi and welcome to Unity 3D tutorial of instantiating a prefab. You see, instantiate, which is the function that is used to create clones of game object, as you can see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys to Unity development environment, and we'll put one of these together. You see balls being shoot out and cubes rotating. So I'll show you how that is made up. So let's go to start. Stop this first and go to start and create a new project. Okay guys, let's give our project a name. So I'm just gonna call that ball underscore instantiate. So I'm going to make sure I select 3D and just click on create project. Yeah, let's save the previous one. Okay guys, let's start a new project. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file. Let's select file, save scene as, and I'm just going to call it games instance day, and let's click on save. That is it, saved right there. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to use this very tutorial, and let me show you guys the tutorial I'm talking about right here. That is it. I'm going to copy this very link and add it to my description area. The very first thing I'd like to do now is to show you guys how to instantiate a prefab at runtime, and this, instead of this, instead of the basic instantiating prefab, which will be the second one I'm going to take care of, let me take care of this very one first, this very one here. So I'm going to start by copying these lines of codes here. It's a very simple tutorial which you guys will enjoy, so close that. Now the first thing is, see where I have my hierarchy there. Okay, drop that down and let's select create empty. So that's my object there, and I'm going to repeat the same thing again, but this time around I'm going to select cylinder. Right there I have my cylinder. I can always delete that because I don't need it on board. Or before I do that, let me come in there, copy this very cylinder, drag it right in here so that I can use that to create what is known as prefab. Okay, let's change this to, instead of 2 columns, let me change it to 1 so that you guys can see it. So let's drag that again, and there we go. It's now what is known as prefab, because you can even see the color is blue. So I can delete this. Let's delete that right away. Now the next thing I will do is right in here inside the project tab, I'm going to right click and let's create a script, C# script, and that very C# script I'm just going to call it circle format, and just press enter. Okay, make sure this script is selected and we click on open. Okay, now that my coding area is ready, so all I just need to do is let's select this and paste the copied lines of codes right in there. There we go guys. As you can see, the function used is still the void start function right there, and here you can see the public game object prefab variable is declared, and number of objects is declared as 20, and then radius is 5, and so on. But if you look here, you see the mathematical function that is used. We have the pi, we have the cosine, sine, and so on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save that. The reason why I'm showing you the cos and the sine is because it can be changed, but I've saved that. So let's go straight into Unity development environment, and just continue with what we meant to do. First thing first, you see these very scripts. I'm going to click on that very script and drag it straight into the game object right there. Right there guys, make sure you drag it there. Now that is done, and make sure the game object is selected. Once you select the game object, what you will see is the variable prefab that was declared, and you can see the number of objects is 20 and the radius is 5. Now the prefab that is meant to be generated, you now need to drag that, and that is supposed to be my cylinder here. Click on the cylinder, drag it, and make sure you drop it right in there. There we go. Now the cylinder is inside the variable prefab. We can now run it. Click on run, and there we go, guys. Look at that. That is what the system has generated for you. Okay, let's end it and run it one more time. Okay, it's coming up. There we go. Now that that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to right click and let's select 3D object, and I will select the plane. It has a plane there. I want to change the size of that plane to 2 by 2 by 2. That is fine, and maybe let's move it down a little bit, and let's run it again and see how it's going to look like. There we go. Okay, as you can see, the cylinders are sitting right on top of it. Okay, let's end that. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm now going to come straight to the hierarchy here, click on the hierarchy, and I'm going to now select this sphere. Let's click on that. Now in the case of this sphere, we need to add a rigid body. Okay, so let's go to component, physics, and select rigid body there. And this very fair as well, I need to convert it to a prefab. Drag and drop. There we go. You see, all my prefab are blue in color. So once they are changed to prefab, the color always changes to blue. So that's fine. Officially, I don't need this anymore. I can always delete it from there, but I'm just gonna leave it. Okay, now the next thing is to right click or just select create, and let's create another C# script, and this time around I'm just gonna call that balls, or let's just say ball. That is fine. Press enter. Good. And let's open up this very script. Okay, now that the script is opened, let me show you guys the lines of code I intend to use. Is also inside Unity documentation. So let's scroll right up. Is the basic prefab right there, basic instantiating prefab right there. Scroll right down. So I'm just going to copy this. Look, as you can see, the method or the function is start, but I'm going to paste that inside. I'll change that to update, so minimize that, and I'll come in here. Okay, get rid of all of this, just paste that in there, and the function I'm just going to change it to update anyway. Convert that to update. I can now get rid of this. There we go. That is that done. Save that as well. Okay, let's come back in here. We also need an object for it, so I'm going to create another game object. Right click, create an empty game object. There we go. As you can see, game object 1 it's called. If you like, you can change the name. I'm going to change the name to game object ball underscore ball. There. I will now drag the script, the lines of code, drag it and drop it right in here. There we go. Now click on that. I should be able to see the prefab variable. If you guys remember, the variable on it is actually called my prefab. That is it right here. Look at it, my prefab. So let's select that game object ball again, and I will now drag the sphere and just drop it right in there. So let's give that a run and see how that is going to look like as well. Okay, let's click on run, and there we go, guys. That's it. That's how it's looking. So let's move it back a little bit. Yeah, you see that? Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a cube and let it look like it's actually spawning. The balls are spawning from the cube. So you can see all the clones that are being generated. These are the clones generated by the cylinder itself. For now, let's stop that. Okay, the next thing I want to do now is I'm going to come back to this hierarchy there. Click on the hierarchy and let's go to 3D object and add a cube right there. That's the cube, and let's say the cube is about 1 up there, and the rotation I'm going to set that to 45 by 45 and by 45. Okay, see, let's move it so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, look at that. I've actually angled it like 45, 45, 45 there. So the next thing I want to do is make sure the cube is selected, and let's come straight to the add component right here. Click on add component, select new script, and there I'm going to give it a name. I'll just call it rotator, and let's click on create and add. There we go. That's the scripts created for the cube. So I'm going to make sure I select the rotator script itself and click on open, and right there. The next thing that I want to do now is right in here, you see the function update. I'm going to enter in there. I'd like it to transform as follow. Let's double click on that and say rotate. And now I'm going to then use the following new vector, and that vector should give me 3 decimal options. So let's say I'm going to go for, let's say 20, comma, and increase that by another 20. That's 40, and make that 60, and see how it's going to be. Then to smoothen things up, I'm going to say multiply by time delta, time dot delta there, and enter a semicolon there. Right, that is it. All I then need to do is just to attach this code. Make sure it's saved though. Save it, and let's go straight to our development area right there. And now you see this very code. I'm going to click on the script, drag it and drop it right inside the cube, and that's all there is to that. So let's run it and see how that's going to look like. There we go. Look at that. It looks like the cube is actually spawning the ball. Let's move the cube down a little bit. Come right down here a little bit more and bring this in. Okay, now let's give it a try again. Look at that. Alright, let's move it down. Okay, I'm going to have to increase the size of the plane there. Make that 3 by 3, or let's say 2.5, 2.5 and 2.5 right here. Now let's run it one more time. There, look at that. Increase that. Yeah, that's brilliant. Now what else can we do? Let's do one thing. Okay, I'm going to come here. Okay, let's click on create. I will add the following folder. That very folder I'm going to call it script. And just to arrange things, make it look a little bit neater. Okay, all of my script, select it all and drag it right inside the script folder. There we go. Now what about my prefabs? So I'm going to create another one. So just call that prefab. Let's say prefabs. So the prefabs, I'll drag the 2 prefabs and dump it right in there, just to tidy things up. Now let's create one more for the material. Prefab is there. Come right in here, folder, material, and there. Now right inside the material, I'm going to right click on the material folder itself, go to create, and let's select material. Okay, this material, this is going to be for the background there, and change this very color of this material. Come to where we have albedo right here, click on that, and I'm going to select something blue. Yeah, that's not too bad. I'm just press enter. Let's do that again. Yeah, that's blue. And now drag the background color, place it right on the plane. Now let's create another background. Make sure the background is selected, Control D, and there to create another one. Click on the albedo. Let's change the color to maybe red. Okay, let's change it to red. That's fine. Press enter, and that very color, the second one, that is going to be for my prefab, this very one that is being spawned, this fair. Okay, then that's fine. What about for the cylinder? Let's right click and create another background, so we can change that to maybe yellow. That would be for the fence light. Alright, press enter and drag the number 2 background, drop it right in there, and that's all there is to that. So if I run it, this is what you guys will see. There we go. Look at that, guys. And that is how Instantiate is used to clone prefabs in Unity. So with that, guys, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoy it, and please do subscribe, and there will be more tutorial on Unity 3D. You all have a nice day now. Bye for now.